Live from our newsroom, it's the Hard Times Podcast. With Bill Conway and Matt Sankum.
You said you haven't toured since you came out. Tell me about how you imagine that might go on the new tours, and tell me about your new record and what's going on.
Yeah, sure. Well, I'll start with the record. That's easier to digest. So my band, We Are the Union, put out a new song on Friday and announced a new record called Ordinary Life. And the record it's about a lot of things, but primarily it's about my experience living with dysphoria and my experience as a trans woman. And because I'm me and I'm very extra all the time, I decided that the best way for me to possibly come out was to release a music video and announce a new record and do all these things at one time. In retrospect, don't do that. I'm very glad we did it. It's been a whirlwind of a few days in a good way, but man, the anxiety that I felt, because we announced at 7 a.m. Pacific time, the anxiety that I felt at 6:55 a.m. as I was entering all the copy and putting up photos to hit send on Instagram and Twitter. We queued everything up and then kind of one by one busted through them. The anxiety that I felt at 6:55 a.m. is a feeling that I will never forget, probably in not a good way. So if you're thinking about doing that, might I recommend don't.
Yeah, that's actually incredible to think about. That's like a campaign and a rollout. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Which is not normally something we do for personal announcements.
No, it's not. Brent was making fun of me because he was like, "You would be the only person in the world to have a release rollout for your coming out." I was like, "Yeah, I would."
So, posting things online certainly opens us up to peering eyes that are. I have had some experiences, being associated with hard times where it's kind of unpleasant just to be known, right? But I've never shared anything so vulnerable. Yeah. Tell me about that. You told me about the minutes before. Tell me about the days after.
It's been a nonstop barrage of love and support. I mean, I feel
Hey, that's pretty good.
I feel so lucky. I mean, I feel really fortunate. Yes, there's still a massive amount of transphobia and queerphobia, and there's still a massive amount of that in the world. But I feel incredibly lucky that, at least in our corner of the world, in the punk rock realm, among the generation who saw, what we posted, there's been maybe 3 instances where I was like, well, that's a shitty thing to say.
Wow.
And really only one of those was outwardly bigoted. The other 2 were just kind of ignorant. Mm-hmm. But it's just been support, and my phone has not stopped buzzing since Friday with people reaching out from all over the scene. I mean, it's the amount of people who've reached out to me, people that I don't even know, musicians that I've looked up to for years, it's the outpouring of support shows me we have so far to go, but it shows me that at least as a community, at least as a punk rock community, we've come so far.
Yeah.
In terms of acceptance. And that's kind of the goal. And that's my ultimate goal with doing it this way, as difficult as it was, is I want people coming out as trans to become boring, not in the sense of I want people to be celebrated for being trans, I do, but I also I think I want it to become so normal that we don't have to do it this way, if that makes sense.
Well, I think what you did is a great step in that direction. I'm so happy to hear that the punk community has gotten to that point where it isn't a traumatic experience for you
And
to
of course,
be
that's
yourself.
my experience, right? Like,
Yeah.
everyone has their own circles, and
Of course, of course. How long were you thinking about doing it, and when did you decide to do it this way?
man, I started writing this record back in like spring and summer, but I didn't really accept that we were really going to do this until about a month, maybe 2 months before we went into the studio. So the way we recorded this record was pretty wild. Partly because it's COVID, but also because of the subject material of the record. We decided to rent an Airbnb in Joshua Tree,
Okay.
middle of nowhere, middle of the desert. We rented a house, and we went and we basically isolated amongst ourselves for 2 weeks, and we essentially wrote and recorded 90% of the record during those 2 weeks. Like I had finished all the vocals, and like I had built the skeletons of the songs. And we literally just sat down in that Airbnb. We wrote all the lead guitar parts, all the bass parts, all the horn parts. We worked on a bunch of backing vocals, and we basically built the record together in isolation during that time.